Manny,
Can you
this is
hear us?
Tracy. Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. I am not showing up on my screen. Do y'all see me?
Yes, we do.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Good. All right. So then, should I call back? Should I use the executive session one to do a test now? Use that link to do a test now?
Um, it's up to you. I think you'll be fine, but
Okay.
it is up and running if you wanted. I don't know if you can be logged into two Zoom calls though. I've never actually tested that.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not gonna test the laws of physics with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. If you can hear me
Yeah.
and see me fine on this, and I will, so I will not actually see myself on this view. I'm not complaining about that. It's just,
Normally
it's
you
throwing me
see. I
off for a
think
little
it's because
bit.
you're a panelist. So that's
Oh,
probably why.
okay. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. No, we can see you and hear you clearly.
Okay, very good. All right, thank you. I'm
Hmm.
gonna mute and then kill this video for now.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Hmm.
Howdy, everybody. Today is Tuesday, September 24th, and the time is 7:30 p.m. We're here for the regular session of the Coppell City Council. We do have a quorum present, and in addition to the quorum present here, we also have Councilmember Prem Kumar will be joining us on Zoom. So I'm calling the meeting to order. We'll hold an executive session at the end and work session at the end of this meeting, which is a bit of a change in our normal procedure, but we will get through the regular meeting. As a reminder, any persons wishing to speak during our citizens' appearance must sign the appropriate register located outside the council chambers and list your residence address. Tonight, we're blessed to have Ryan Polson with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints to give our invocation, at which time, after that, we will recite the Pledge of Allegiance, so please remain standing. Ryan?
Our Father in heaven, we are grateful for the privilege of being here tonight. We thank Thee for the freedoms that we enjoy, for the privilege of living in this beautiful city. We give Thee thanks for these men and women, for their commitment to civic service. We pray that Thou wouldst bless them and bless their families. We pray for wisdom and guidance to be with all those who will participate in the meeting tonight, that decisions can be made and directions taken that will bless every member of this community. We pray for Thy blessings to continue to be with those members, especially our children and youth, that they may continue to learn and grow and thrive, and that this can be a community that fosters such growth and development. We give Thee thanks for Thy love and blessings, and we offer this prayer in the sacred name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. So item number 4 on our agenda is a proclamation, and I am very excited to have our guest of honor with us tonight. I'd like to invite Chiaka Obagu and her family and friends and neighbors and anybody else that would like to join us down front to please join me down in the front. Whereas Chiaka Obagu has demonstrated extraordinary talent, dedication, and perseverance in the support of women's volleyball, earning the title of Olympic champion not once, but twice, through unparalleled skill and unwavering commitment to excellence. And whereas Chiaka has been a member of the history-making U.S. women's national volleyball team since 2018, and whereas in 2021, the U.S. women's national volleyball team won their first Olympic gold medal in Tokyo, and whereas in 2024 she was named Best Middle Blocker at the 2024 Paris Olympics, where her team went on to win the silver medal, and whereas Chiaka has exemplified the spirit of sportsmanship, inspiring athletes and fans alike with her and her team's remarkable achievements on the world stage, and whereas the remarkable victories of the U.S. women's national volleyball team have brought immense pride and honor to Chiaka's hometown of Coppell and the nation, and whereas Chiaka has not only excelled her athletic career, but has made significant contributions to the development and promotion of volleyball and has also modeled for Ralph Lauren and Milani Cosmetics. Now therefore, I, Wes Mays, Mayor of the City of Coppell, do hereby proclaim Tuesday, September 24, 2024 as Chiaka Obagu Day. And in recognition... In recognition of her outstanding achievements and contributions, let it be known that we honor and celebrate Chiaka for her extraordinary accomplishments as a 2-time Olympic champion and express our deepest appreciation for the pride she has brought Coppell and our community. In witness thereof, I've set my hand and caused the seal of Coppell to be affixed this 24th day of September 2024. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now, I will hand this to you.
Thank you so much.
And I've got a little something for you to do in just a moment. Council, does anybody have anything they would like to say? Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, thank you for joining us here today. We're so excited to be able to honor you and give you, I don't even know if you need much more recognition from how you have represented our community so well. Thank you for all you've given our community, our state, our country. I know how hard you must have worked, and you do it with such grace and poise, and you're such an amazing example for so many young people, especially our young ladies in our community. So thank you for all of you do. You're awesome, and we just love having you, and we love having you here representing Coppell. So thank you very much.
Councilmember Matthew.
Thank you, Mayor. Welcome to this with the family here today. Thank you for being here. Congratulations. We are proud of you having 2 Olympics medals. You know, after you, you have it now, and we are very proud of you. It's good to see you again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilmember Hinojosa Smith.
I think I'll just echo what everyone said, but thank you to you and to your family, because I know that it's, they probably don't always get to see you often since you're traveling a lot, but, you know, thank you for, you know, everything that they do, and thank you for everything that you do to just represent our community and our country. And as Councilmember or Mayor Pro Tem Neville said, you do it with such grace and poise, and we just really appreciate it. And we're really glad that you took the time out of your really busy schedule to be here and just letting us celebrate you, because this is just a huge accomplishment. And just know that we were all watching you, and we'll continue to watch you and celebrate you and support you and all that you need. So thank you.
Do you have anything you'd like to say?
Of course. Well, first, thank you, Mayor Mays, for having me and the rest of the council members. Like she just said, thank you to my family and friends. It's been a very long journey, and they often don't get to see me, but the support I felt from them, and then also the city of Coppell, has been extremely humbling. I think I counted, at least outside of my parents, 8 Coppell members in Paris, which I think is wild. Yeah, there was my friend here, Courtney, and her mom was there. My Aunt Tochi was there, and then 4 other people I went to high school with. So that just goes to show the support that I've received from this community from kindergarten has just been amazing, and again, extremely humbling. So thank you all for your support near and far. I really appreciate it.
Now, I do have a Sharpie here, and she said she knows how to use one. And I didn't realize there were so many different types of volleyballs. But I did look up, and the U.S. Olympics women team used a Mikasa volleyball. Now, I probably didn't find exactly what you guys got to use, but I got as close as I could. So if I could get your signature, we're going to place this in the cabinet outside in the lobby.
Oh, thank you. They're hard to find.
And I can say this is the first time I've ever been within 2 feet of an Olympic medal, so that's also a first for me. So thank you very much. Wow, thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Mayor, do you guys want to come in front of this podium, and then we can hold the ball?
Just got to slide in. Yeah, absolutely.
Want me to take it on your phone? Thank you.
My daughter's gonna find this hilarious.
Oh, wait,
She's
wait,
5 and
wait,
I-
wait,
Oh,
wait, wait.
so miss.
One more, one more.
Oh, one more.
Oh, one more.
One more.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
All right, thanks very much. So nice meeting you.
You're welcome, you too.
Well, that tie was looking good, so I wanted it to be in the book.
I didn't even get to talk about how you took your signature home. All right, item number 5 on our agenda is our citizens' appearance. Persons wishing to speak must sign the register and list your address. Presentations by individuals shall be limited to 2 minutes each. An individual speaker time may be extended for an additional 2 minutes with the approval of the majority of the council members present. Persons signed up to speak will be called in the order that they signed up. No personal attacks by any speaker shall be made against any member of the council, the mayor, individual, group, or corporation. There will be no comments or deliberations from the City Council due to the Texas Open Meetings Act. Once the timer sounds at 2 minutes, the City Secretary will break in and make the request of the mayor and the council if they would like to extend the speaker's time. Tonight, we do have one person who's signed up to speak, and that's Mr. Thomas Burrows.
.138 Windpage Drive. So, my son, one of my son's hockey coaches was on the 1992 team and showed us all the his medal. So I don't see the thing going here. I don't see it in front of me. So. Well, it's just like the application for the board that I made that kept being rejected. And then finally, I was told that, oh, your application has been accepted, except it's strange. It's not my information that I put there. So I'm sure that when it will get rejected, as usual, that's a good reason why, because it didn't have my information. I do appreciate one of the council members cutting down the tree as it comes into my neighborhood. It looked a little the dead tree. Again, my wife, they got lost with the EMS thing, because you'd think that that'd be one of those things they'd learn, is how to get from someplace in Coppell and get to a hospital without driving into the DFW airport. Again, I don't understand why the lights on Sandy Lake, 2 blocks of them, are not working. It's been turned in for 3 weeks. I mean, it is like safety, here, Coppell lights. On the bridges on Denton Tap and Sandy Lake, we've got busted out lights there and trees growing in front of them. I don't know, folks, it's basic safety, When somebody gets killed because of this, they're going to sue you, Thomas J. Henry and all that stuff. Just saying, and why does the Methodist Church not have to mow their yard? Make wonders to me, So I'll be back next time to talk about the EMS thing again until we find out that that's been properly trained.
Thank you for your comments. Item number 6 is our consent agenda. The consent agenda is routine in nature and is generally enacted in one motion. These items have been previously approved through the budget or past council action. Any item may be pulled and considered separately. Full descriptions are available on the screen. We do have items A through M, and I would like to request that we pull item I, as there has been a minor change to it, and I would like to have Mr. Hager represent that. Council members, considering items A through M less I at this point. Is there any item you'd like to have pulled or have any questions over? Seeing none, I will take a motion. Councilmember Carroll.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to approve the consent agenda item number 6, A through H, and J through M.
Thank you. Seconded by Councilmember Walker. All in favor?
Walker, Hinojosa Smith, Carolyn Nevels, Matthew Hill. In favor, none opposed, the motion carries.
Thank you very much. Consent agenda item 6I is consider approval of interlocal agreement with Dallas College to facilitate growing and cultural ability and learning sessions for all city employees in the amount of $48,000. It's budgeted in the general fund employee experience department and authorizing the mayor to sign. Mr. Hager.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This morning I received a notice from our staff that there was an issue with paragraph 24 of the agreement, which is a provision in the interlocal agreement that's required by law that any expenditures from a city or municipality or other governmental entity for goods and services which we are provided services by the community college has to be paid for by funds currently available and budgeted. That clause provides for that. They objected to the language. I made a small change, which you have at your seat. It does not change the substance of the agreement, the services rendered, or the payment. It's just kind of a glitch that we're required by law to have that language in the agreement. I made the change for the community college, and we would ask you go ahead and approve this agreement as presented to you with the change in paragraph 24.
Thank you very much. Any questions for Mr. Hager? Mayor Pro Tem Nevels.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Hager, quick question. If we are to approve this amended document that you've provided us, do we need to note anything specific in our motion, or do we just say as presented?
I would go ahead and just do it as amended.
As amended. All right. Thank you, sir.
Mayor Pro Tem Nevels.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to approve consent agenda item 6I as amended.
Thank you. Seconded by Councilmember Hinojosa Smith. I will get it right someday. I'm sorry. All in favor?
Walker, Hinojosa Smith, Carolyn Nevels, Matthew Hill. In favor, none opposed, the motion carries.
Thank you very much. Item number 7 is consider voting for a candidate for places 11 through 14 to the Board of Trustees of the Texas Municipal League Intergovernmental Risk Pool and authorizing the mayor to sign and complete the ballot. Mr. Collins, I think you had a few things you were going to say. We did select Mr. Land or nominate him for the ballot, so this is the formal process as I understand it.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor, Council. Just a brief introduction on this item. The risk pool was created in 1973. It serves approximately 2,800 governmental agencies or entities throughout the state of Texas, and they primarily provide service in the areas of workers' compensation, liability, property, and cyber coverage for cities. The city of Coppell first became a member of the risk pool in 1977 for liability and for workers' compensation, added liability and property in 1986 and cyber liability in 2016. As the mayor mentioned, on July 23rd, City Council approved a resolution of support nominating City Manager Mike Land for place 14 on the Risk Pool Board of Trustees. And this item is to formally recommend electing Mr. Land to the board in place 14. In addition, this item recommends 3 other nominees for places 11, 12, and 13. And those nominees are Randy Criswell with the city. He's the city manager of Wolfforth to place 11, Allison Hayward, council member for City of Schertz to place 12, and Harlan Jefferson, deputy city manager for the City of Burleson to place 13. I will note the item specifically recommends Mr. Land, and it's really the council's pleasure whether you want to vote for the other 3 individuals for the other 3 places, or if you want to vote for someone else that's not recommended here. The background and of each of the nominees or candidates was included in the packet. And that concludes my remarks.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Prem Kumar and I had the privilege of meeting Councilmember Allison Hayward at the TML District 13 meeting last week. She is the incoming president for TML. Very impressive lady, spoke well, enjoyed her talk. So, Council, what's the Councilmember Walker?
So I noticed Mike's not here. Does he know we're nominating him for this?
Well, that's one of the risks of not being here.
There you go. No, I'm just being silly. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem.
I'm going to stab at a serious question here. Was there any particular criteria for the recommendations that were provided? I noticed, I believe all three were the incumbents, if I'm not mistaken, looking over that. So any particular reason why those were recommended?
They are the incumbents.
Okay.
Have demonstrated, good service to the board.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
I can accept a motion at any time. Councilmember Walker.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to approve that we accept Mike Land's, or we nominate Mike Land for the position, and the other three nominees as well.
Thank you. I have a second from Mayor Pro Tem Nevels. All in favor?
Walker, Hinojosa, Smith, Carolyn Nevels, Matthew Hill, in favor, none opposed, the motion carries.
Thank you very much. Item number 8 is our city manager reports with project updates, future agendas, and direction from work session. Well, we haven't had work session yet, so we'll do that one later.
Yes, sir. No report this evening.
Okay. All right. Item number 9 is the mayor and council reports on recent and upcoming events. Just as a reminder, our National Night Out is 1 week away from tonight. It will be October 1st. I thought it was the week after that. It is October the 8th.
October 1st. I just came to the meeting. National Night Out.
It is.
Yes, sir.
I thought it was the Tuesday before TML.
It is. Or
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, a little confusion. National Night Out is October 1st, which is a week from tonight. This is a community building campaign that promotes police community partnerships. Check out the location map on the block parties in Coppell, and special thank you to our 2024 sponsors. I apologize because we have a council meeting on the 8th. Yes, it is a different week with October 1st falling on a Tuesday. As I mentioned briefly, Councilmember Prem Kumar and I attended the TML District 13 annual meeting down in Duncanville last Thursday night. We had the privilege of listening to former mayor of Fort Worth, Betsy Price, speak. And she, as always, was very deliberate in her words, not mincing anything, and admonishing everyone to give their best in their public service. So I certainly enjoyed listening to her speak. Do we have any other items from the council? Seeing none. Number 10 is public service announcements concerning items of community interest with no council action or deliberation. Mayor Pro Tem Nevels.
Mayor, I did want to report a very serious matter of the official mayor's grape stomp at Grape Fest. Councilmember Prem Kumar and I faithfully represented the city of Coppell. We did not take home the grand prize of most juice produced, so I failed you, and we failed you in that regard. But we did win the most likely to go viral category as the fan favorite. So I felt like that was great prestige for our city of Coppell. So did want to make sure that, and I'll be presenting you with our certificate later in the evening, sir. So thank you for choosing us to represent the city of Coppell. Appreciate you.
Thank you for filling in as I was out of town, so appreciate that. Councilmember Carroll, did you have anything you'd like to announce? I see a trophy sitting there in front of you.
I was voted the best Larry for 2024.
Whoa.
Come out to homecoming Friday night to see the best Larry of 2024. Well, actually, I was voted this by one person. I guess my daughter voted me this. So there you go.
Is that a participation trophy?
Yeah. No, this is serious. Come out to homecoming. Homecoming's this week.
All right.
The parade's tomorrow night, yes, and then the game is Friday night.
Oh, for National Night Out?
It did not. I didn't have anything there for it.
There's homecoming tomorrow, there's a parade, and I think Parkway is going to be closed. And I thought I saw from like 5 to 7 or something along that line, so.
Roughly, I think 5:30 to 7,
Yeah.
something like that.
All right, thank you very much.
We're hot.
All right, the time is 7:56 PM. We are recessing from the regular session. We will move into executive session in the first floor conference room. After executive session is complete, I'll come back out and announce that we're going into work session, at which time the public will be invited and welcome to join us. So we will be back shortly. Thank you very much. The time is 9:22, and we adjourn from executive session and are moving into work session. A work session is open to the public and will be held in the first floor conference room starting at approximately 9:25.
And so,
Everything.
and so
Do I not have a say?
we were on the timeline of so wife doesn't have to
The
take Dad
time
to
is
school
9:26
tomorrow.
p.m. We're going to move into work session. I did not know that tonight was going to go as long, so I will happily defer item A to a future work session if that's okay with everyone.
Oh, I was really looking forward to that.
I think that
I'd be happy to have the discussion. Do you want people in a better mood for it?
Yeah. I'm willing to defer A to a future session.
You're welcome to go.
Although
I
I'm
was just giving you a hard time.
I'm very intrigued, so.
Okay.
Yeah, me too.
Well, you want to do it
Let's
now?
do it.
Oh, okay.
Let's do it. Let's
We'll go in the library afterwards.
This is a list of comparison cities.
I've got the answer for this.
Me too.
Okay, then what is it? Let's just
Three
jump to it.
minutes.
Sync up with Coppell ISD or the city of McKinney.
Oh, no. Oh my God.
So-
There's the answer, it's clear.
Actually, that's what I wrote down.
City of
Three.
McKinney.
Yeah.
Well, I like the idea of syncing with Coppell, with the ISD, just because,
Second.
and I like
So-
theirs. But if
Yeah.
not that, the McKinney one.
So what I was gonna propose was 3 minutes per speaker,
Yep.
no addition, and you allow me to limit the time if we have more than 8 speakers.
Yes.
And we guarantee every speaker 1 minute.
Yep.
I love it.
Sounds good.
That's
Yeah.
We disagree.
Oh,
Okay,
wait, Mark,
how come?
please share.
People have a right to speak their mind and should be given time. And I remember when I came to council in 2014, and we had, at least 100 people here. and we were limited on time. It was infuriating.
So what's your proposal?
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Well, it is broken, because when we get a speaker and I ask for whether you guys want to do an extension of time, it's really the extension of time that I'm after, not the speaking time itself. When I ask for an extension of time and I get a ducked head and looking the other way, no one voting on it or telling me which way to go, I don't have direction to head. That's what that's what I need fixed.
Oh, you shake my head, yeah.
Well, I appreciate it, but not everybody does. Brianna?
Hey, so I hear you, Mark, because that's why I usually just say yes, even, and I know we sometimes have speakers who are up there for different reasons, right? And sometimes it has nothing to do with the community, sometimes it does, but I believe in people being heard. I also know that, one, people can also email us, so we also have the email opportunity where they will send us a letter, right? Or just, I guess all I have to say is there's different avenues other than just the being heard. Or as far as coming into the meeting. So I guess that's why I feel like if we limit it to, not limit it, but if we put time guardrails around it for 3 minutes, for example, then we're also setting expectations for the person who's speaking to come prepared with what they want to say in that time period, rather than we just continue to say, yes, 2 more minutes, 2 more minutes, 2 more minutes, because I think people also should come with prepared comments if they're going to say something to us, right? So, I don't know, I hear your point, but I also do like the fact of, like you said, Mayor, where you're not having to go around and get thumbs up from everyone, because sometimes people give you an answer and sometimes they don't. So, yeah.
Oh, I'm
No, I'm done.
Oh, okay. So the only thing I have a concern about is I feel like there's 2 different kinds of speakers. One speaks, and we have ask for more time notice, want to give it. One speaks, and we give extra time. So we're making a value judgment that's a public value judgment on the speech. I'd rather give everybody 4 minutes and not have any, value judgment or vote or just, because you're right, and the state law is really clear. We're supposed to allow them a chance to come and say whatever they want to say about anything they want to talk about for a period of time. So I think 3 minutes is enough, personally. A lot of people don't ask for more time, so they wouldn't necessarily need the 3 minutes. Some people do, and then they don't necessarily use all the extra. So to me, 3 minutes is a reasonable, single set, you get to talk for 3 minutes. But I would like to get rid of the awkwardness
Yeah, I do too.
of passing judgment on the speaker or, something like that.
I absolutely agree.
And that was what my intent was. I don't care what the time is. Well, I do, but I don't really care. And I think it's a good idea to set a cumulative total, but I understand Mark's point, and I can completely understand it. Bijou?
Yeah, I believe we should give every citizen opportunity to speak. Not many people come and speak here. And if they are willing to take time off from their busy schedule and show up at the city council, we cannot deny anybody an opportunity to speak to us. If we can limit 4 minutes, that's fine. But we should be hearing every single person. And when we get emails, we may not respond to them. So they think it's going to be a black hole. And I'm sure some of the emails are responded by staff. That's good, that they get a response. But if anybody shows up city councils and want to speak to the city council on any matter, they should be allowed.
I will tell you that every email that comes in addressed to all of us, I make sure that a response is sent out by the staff.
Excellent.
So I do, now I can't, if it goes to the city council address, I absolutely ensure that we get an official answer from the staff.
Excellent.
So, but, okay, Brianna?
Yeah, for clarification, I'm not saying that one takes the place of the other. I think you're right, absolutely, everyone should be heard, and I appreciate when people come and speak, because it may be, regardless of what they wanna say, right, like, they should be heard, and there may be things that we just don't even know about. I think what I was saying is, if for whatever reason, whatever that time limit is that we provide, 2, 3, 4 minutes isn't enough, we also have the opportunity, right, where people can email us. I read everyone's emails. I know staff responds to it. We can't respond, even if they came in person. I think I was just basically saying that if 4 minutes isn't enough for somebody, rather than the awkwardness of yes, no, do we give them more time, right? You also have other avenues of communicating with us. But I do think that everyone should be heard, and we should give people the opportunity to come in.
Ramesh?
Thank you, Mayor. I was under the impression that only one more 2-minute extension was allowed. And if that is true, I kind of agree with Mark. You know, the current system, I think, works well. And if we as city council members need to be better at giving you a positive thumbs up or down, I think we can change ourselves and do that.
I really want to get away from the heads up, thumbs up, thumbs down. I think to Jim's point, it's almost giving a
Value judgment.
Thank you for the word value judgment on the, and I think that's.
It doesn't serve a purpose.
No, and believe me, for me, it's very uncomfortable when I'm not getting a clear direction from the council.
Right.
I'm sorry, we had 3 hands go up at once. Mark?
You know, I agree with Jim. I mean, for us to make a value judgment on whether or not we want to hear what the person has to say, they should be able to continue thought. And I'm all for 4 minutes and just be done with it. Because it takes a lot to fill up 4 minutes. I mean, you have to have a lot prepared. And now, I know some people can ramble, but you know, if it's an extra 4 minutes out of my life, I feel obligated to the citizens to hear their thoughts.
Kevin?
Jim, 100% agree with your statement as well. I thought that was very, very well stated. So I appreciate the wisdom in the words you just shared. I like the idea of kind of what Don said about going with kind of what Coppell, and Mayor, I do want to thank you for putting together this list of kind of our surround. Oh,
actually, that was Ashley.
Ashley, I want to thank you so much for putting this list together. So, because one thing I do like about the Coppell IC, I understand that, you know, Coppell, you know, parts of Coppell are in different school districts, and, you know, the parts of other districts go to Coppell, but I like the idea of it being consistent, so it's not confusing to our citizens. They know that for a majority of most people, if you live in Coppell IC or the city of Coppell, I think that consistency would be good. I also think that there are some citizens, even though Mayor, you read it every time, I know a lot of people are probably so focused on, and they're nervous about getting up there about what they're gonna say, they may not understand how to ask for the additional 2 minutes on that. So the idea of getting rid of the ask is huge for me. I like the 3 minutes because it automatically, if you look at it, it automatically grants another minute if you are unsure how to ask for that additional time and things like that. But it does, I think that we could get stuck on 3 minutes or 4 minutes, but I think 3 minutes is plenty of time to be able to articulate an idea, be able to express that. I don't see a huge difference between 3 and 4 minutes. And then I will say I've seen very creative ways, like people speaking to our school district. They use like chain speaking almost, where they write up a word, and 3 people sign up, and it takes them a couple people to get through that. But our citizens are smart. I think they'd be able to, if there was an issue to come up, like you said, 100 people show up. I think they'd be creative to be able to, get their ideas across on that. So I like the 3 minutes. I like automatically granting an additional minute. And I like just being consistent with the school, with Coppell ISD. So.
Sorry, I don't understand the additional minute part.
No, he meant from the existing 2
Oh,
minutes.
okay, okay,
From the
gotcha.
existing 2 minutes, it's like, we're automatically like, hey, here's
Okay,
another
gotcha,
minute
okay.
versus trying to ask and articulate.
Gotcha, thank you.
So, but I do hear all of y'all's, and I do agree. Everyone should be able to express their thoughts.
I know a lot of times when we get a large number of speakers on one item, that they'll have some spokespersons who will speak fully on the item, and then people will just get up and say, hey, I agree with the previous speaker on everything he said, and they're done. And so, you know, when we're limiting it to 15 in number.
What's not limited to that?
We're limiting
So,
the time.
what it is, when it reaches that number,
Yeah.
it basically just says
You can adjust it.
that they can adjust it to accommodate more people to be able to
Yeah.
speak in a timely manner.
And
You got Brianna.
I think
Oh, Brianna?
So, the problem with that, because I do understand it, and I think it makes things a lot more efficient. And I think maybe, Mark, to your point earlier is, if we do something like that and we, after 15, 20 speakers, and everybody only gets a minute, right, versus the original 3 minutes, then it's, right, it's like, who gets there first to be able to get those 3 minutes versus, right? It's,
No, I think you would change it from the beginning.
Yeah.
wouldn't you?
What's that? Yeah,
You would change it for everybody.
yeah, you change it for everybody.
Everybody would
oh,
get the-
everybody
would
gets
get-
then a
everybody
minute
would
because
get-
there's over 15 people?
Yeah,
He would be able to say
Oh.
everybody gets 90 seconds or
Gotcha, and
Yeah.
2 minutes
well,
or
my
whatever.
concern with that then is because, I mean, I don't wanna go, like, for as long as I can remember, we've been 2 minutes, right? And so, and then extending an additional 2, so I don't know that I would wanna go back to, like, if you have, you know, over 15 people, then everybody only gets 1 minute, when people are coming prepared for, you know, 2 minutes. I do like the 3 minutes, and if we're gonna do the 3 minutes, then I would like the 3 minutes then for everybody, so that everybody has the same amount of time, and they can adjust accordingly, right? Like, I don't know who said this, but usually, I think you just said it, Kevin, was usually some people will say, I agreed with the presenter before, right? And so I have no, oh, Mark, sorry, and I have, you know, no
Great
additional comments to say. 3 minutes, 4 minutes, I just think for some people, if you give them 4 minutes, they will find a way to take the 4 minutes. Yes.
I'm your guy.
And so, I think in 3 minutes, you can communicate, articulate, share what you're trying to share with us.
Jim?
So I kind of feel like we signed up for this, so I think the 3 minutes is enough. I just had a closing argument, and, in front of a jury, and they only gave me 5 minutes, so, you can get a lot done in 3 minutes, but I kind of feel like, look, I'm here, if there are 20 people who want to talk for 3 minutes each, and they each have something to say or not, it's an hour. It's not, we're not here at midnight and speaker 1100 is going to get up. And I really pray that we'll never have an issue to where that ever happens. But for the most part, pickleball's been the most, and I think those folks would have metered out their time and appointed a spokesman, but I'm content just saying 3 minutes, and everybody that signs up gets 3 minutes. No matter, if they're all here on one topic, then we'll hear a lot about that topic.
Kevin?
I will say that I do, kind of like modeling to see what the Coppell ISD board trustees have done, is what they do is, because there was a concern about you've prepared your arguments and stuff. I know they come out well in advance and they tell everyone, we've got, very recently there's been a lot of speakers signing up. We've got 80 people signed up. We're gonna adjust it to a minute and a half or a minute. And it allows people to, I guess fine tune their words. So it's not just like, hey, you get up there, now you only have 1 minute to speak. So they you know, they do provide the courtesy to be able to, you know, get people to get to the root of their, you know, the point that they're trying to make and, you know, get their idea across. So it's not just like something they surprise on people and stuff. So, again, I agree. I think that the 3 minutes is fine. And look, I would be okay with, you know, if we choose not to, you know, adjust the time, I would be okay with just trying the 3 minutes. I think the heart of the argument, though, is the awkward, do I have, you know, do they get the 2 minutes? I would, whatever we do, I would just love to cut that out. And I'd love to go with the 3 minutes and then cutting that out, and I think that would be a great solution. And then maybe we could adjust it further if we need to, when the pickleballers come out to get you.
You know, we've never had more than 8 speakers in the last 3 years. So it really hasn't been an issue, so.
Even for pickleball?
Huh?
Even for pickleball?
Even they opted for spokespersons.
Okay, or
Bijou-
even,
I'm sorry, Bijou.
Yeah, so when did we implement this policy? 2 minutes for each person, 20 minutes maximum for one topic.
it's been like that
Ooh,
for years.
a long time ago.
It's an ordinance, not a policy.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
So
in
if we have to make an adjustment, we have to change the ordinance?
No, it's not, actually not an ordinance. It is an ordinance, yes. We'll have to vote on it.
Yes.
Okay,
This will come back before you for a formal vote.
right.
If we choose to take
I have
action.
to amend the code. It has to be amended in the code book.
Okay, yeah, so,
You could repeal this and adopt
A
a
new-
rule of procedure to govern this as well, but we've always done it this way.
Mhm.
So in fact, when I got started down this, I thought it was actually part of the charter, because I was misreading it, which would have meant we would have had to do a referendum vote, and I said no. But then Bob pointed out it was just an ordinance that we can amend.
To Bob's point, I'd like to keep it an ordinance, just because I think that we need to, I think it, you know,
I'm not.
I know,
Some
I know
do-
procedure, we don't have to
Some do it
discuss
just
it. but
procedurally, so they have this argument annual.
I'd like to
Now,
keep it.
this has been in the books for a long time.
Yeah. As far
So,
far back as I can
I'm hearing
remember.
3 minutes from most everybody, I think. Mark, you're 4?
4.
Did we have any other at 4?
Yeah, I'm for 4.
4? I've got Ramesh, where do you stand? 3?
I'm
3, 3, 3, 3, okay. So you guys will have a chance to vote on it and make amendments. But let's get, I need something to bring back to you. So we will have the 3-minute proposal in there. We will remove this section that says an individual speaker time will be extended. That will be deleted. And then cumulative time. Do we not want to address that at all?
So you will take that out?
Yes.
20 minutes will taken out?
Oh,
If we approve
Mayor.
3?
hang on a minute, one question at a time, please.
Sorry, do you have the proposed that you could pass out to us?
Yeah, but, no, because
You're gonna mark it up?
We're
Okay.
marking it up.
Got it.
I'm sorry, Bijou?
So the question is, if we go forward with 3 minutes per person,
Right.
the 20 minutes accumulative will remove.
Well, that's up to us. That's what I'm
Okay.
asking right now.
The people agreed for 3 minutes, what's their opinion?
Right.
That's what I was gonna
And
ask.
it doesn't have to be 20 minutes. It can be 45 minutes, which would give you 15 speakers.
So, quick question.
Brianna?
On the 20, that's 20 minutes cumulative for topic, right?
That's what it said.
Okay, I would say then, I say we take out the cumulative and just, if we're gonna say everybody has a right to speak, everybody gets 3 minutes, I'm gonna let y'all know right now that while you haven't had more than 8 speakers, there have been times we have had a lot of speakers.
That's fair.
And rightfully
That's
so, right? We have had some hot topics in Coppell. So if the consensus or where we're landing is we wanna make sure everybody is heard, then I just wanna be careful with putting a cumulative time because, I would rather than we do 3 minutes and have everybody heard.
Just for 3 hours?
You know what, Bob, there's some
I'm just
topic, no, I
asking,
know, and I hear
I
you,
just
and you know
wanna-
what? I
It's
have
paid by
had,
the
I
hour.
have had plenty of 1
I charge
AM.
by the hour. so
I
it's
hear
great.
you.
Exactly, I just said he gets paid by the hour,
Yeah.
so it's.
Yeah, so do I, I mean, so, what I'm saying, and Bob, and and I'm just being funny with you, but with all due respect, like, we've been here sometimes 1, 2 in the morning, there are some topics that our citizens are very passionate about. It's also, far and few between, right? It doesn't happen
Yeah.
very often, and so when it does, let's hear everybody.
Okay,
So
so,
if that's the case, we had multiple occasions with more than one topic, 20 minutes? To be here until 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock?
yeah,
Yeah.
but they just ignored it.
Say that again?
No one enforced the 20-minute cumulative rule.
Ah,
On the other,
okay.
oh, yes,
Okay,
yes, we did not, we just let everybody speak. I think that was probably one of the ones when you came, that we went over 20 minutes. Bicycles, Cypress Waters, like, we've had,
Okay, that makes sense.
yeah, Red Hawk.
How would you stay?
Bicycle helmets.
Oh, yeah, I've had many.
Mixed-use development,
Mixed use,
Don?
So to address this issue, because at the moment, we do limit how many people can speak, technically, right, by
Yes,
ordinance.
we
And
do.
this doesn't say per topic, this says per
Cumulative.
per session.
Yes,
for the
it's
whole
not per
session.
topic.
So I'd go back to CISDs, the way they do theirs, because they let everyone speak. They just, for efficiency purposes, instead of spending 4 hours for 80 people, they end up spending 90 minutes for
90 people.
for 80 people and everything. So it lets everyone speak, but it just, when the need arises, it gives some parameter on how long they can speak. So I still think it gets rid of the limit, it gets rid of the, how many people can talk, right? Because that, like what we have now. So I guess I'm still sort of in favor of that type of, if you have well, they had 80 people the other night, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that'd been 240 minutes. 4 hours you'd be up here, so at least that allows you to fine tune that a little bit and, let everybody say their piece, but not be up here for 4 hours, be up here for 2 hours to do it.
My only concern is your meeting could get hijacked. If you're okay with it, that's fine.
On which,
I've recently been to a meeting where people showed up, they were mad, they didn't like anybody, they didn't like me, they didn't like the mayor, they didn't like the rest of the council. And they just sent people down there to talk nonsense for 4 hours. And they hijacked the meeting, the council got frustrated and ended the meeting. They got up and left. I don't,
and I hear
I'm
you,
just
Bob.
saying that's an extreme case. Is that gonna happen here? Probably not. But
Well, if we get through
So
that, then we can change it.
what are you gonna leave?
The way I had worded it, it gave the mayor the latitude to limit the time per person if he chose to. Didn't say he had to.
I agree with that also, that if we wanted to if there were 20 people that signed up and you wanted to give them a full 3 minutes, you let them all speak.
So the way I had it, I said if
Fine.
8 or more members of the public are present to speak, which would have been 21 minutes, we could go 10 or 15, it doesn't matter. The mayor may uniformly reduce each speaker's term so everyone is given the same amount of
It's not
time
first come, first served.
to ensure meeting efficiency.
Yeah.
In no event will a speaker be given less than 1 minute to address the council.
Quick question for clarification, so that 20 minutes is total for all speakers, even if every speaker has a different topic, it's not per topic?
That's
the way-
correct. That's the way our
this
stuff is
reads.
written.
Do we enforce the 20 minutes?
No, never do.
Okay, that's,
No. See, but you don't wanna get into that thing where, where someone like Thomas gets up and talks for 20 minutes and hijacks the meeting, and you have to listen to that. And, that's fine, that's his God-given constitutional right, I understand. But I just don't want your meeting to get hijacked, keep you from doing your proper business.
But we are saying one person can only speak for 4 minutes.
I understand.
So
You
he
can bring
wouldn't be able to
friends.
talk for 20
Yeah, you can bring his friends.
Oh, you can bring it. So, the other thing I want to think about, you know what, I don't have,
You could have a.
and I think that's a really
fail-safe.
good point, and let's,
You could have a fail-safe, if you can think about what
Yeah.
the fail-safe is, because what Mark suggested, when we talked about mixed use, and everybody in town showed up, that's an important issue for y'all. We should hear that.
Right.
But we weren't heard.
no, I remember
Because
And they
that.
limited the
Oh,
time.
I remember that.
I remember that vote. Oh, you were heard. I remember that better.
But that's what we're talking about getting rid of, is that limit though.
Yeah. But we
I
should have,
remember.
to Mark's
So,
point,
I agree.
something
I
that
agree.
that was that important to the community, where that many people showed up on a zoning case, a
Wes had
zoning issue, that's a public hearing. We're not talking about public hearing.
Right.
You've been in these shoes too, Wes. That's how we met you.
Yes.
So,
Yes, you
and all, with all due respect, it was the same thing, right? That was a big issue with that church.
I know. So
Becoming a
this
school.
rule really spawns people running for council.
Mark. Wes. So, I will tell you that I did stand and measure my address to make sure that I fit the 2 minutes. And, to your point, I was made damn sure I was prepared. I'm sorry, Kevin, you?
No. Well, what if we did something like this? So the fail-safe that you're talking about, okay, so we've got 3 minutes, all right, 20 people, you got an hour, right? So we would allow, we've never even come close to that in the 3 years since I've been on council. What if we said that if, there are more than 20 speakers, either mayor or council, I'll throw it out there, takes a vote to go past that 1 hour mark? So our meeting doesn't get hijacked. I mean,
Well, and
just throwing something out there.
Because what the public, or the Open Meetings Act talks about, prior to the time the council takes action on any item, we're supposed to hear from the citizens, right? That's what's in the statute.
Mhm.
So what that means is that what's protected under the statute is to talk about agenda items, things that are on your agenda. So you want to hear from the citizens about that. You don't want to hear about other stuff. But, or you may, I don't. Some things, some places I go, I have no idea what people.
But I mean, sometimes people don't know what to do, so they come talk to us, and it gets the attention of staff and, council members, just because.
I understand.
Even though it's not on the
They have a
agenda.
grievance and they come down, they want to tell you that they think they're being treated unfairly, or someone needs to trim the trees, or, whatever thing they've got going on in their mind that they think they need to talk to you about. That's true too.
Okay, now I'm confused. So when you were down here on the mixed use, that was an agenda item.
But there was also a meeting before that we spoke in the.
On the citizens' appearance?
Yes.
Gotcha, okay.
Now it's coming and we're.
Yeah.
About that.
And the 20-minute rule was enforced then?
I'm certain it was.
I don't remember that, but I'm not gonna say it wasn't.
I think we just started to limit the time because of the number of people, but I think we went over 20 minutes. But I could be wrong.
Yeah, maybe limited the time.
I think it was, there's so many people
Well,
on the list.
Yeah.
I've seen this happen though too here. This item's coming up on our next agenda. It's a public hearing. You come and talk to us then, because then it matters. We'll take it up then. And we've always been accommodating on these public hearings, always. Everyone's always had an opportunity to speak.
Yeah, in a public hearing, you get 5 minutes per speaker, and up to an hour for each yay and an hour for each
side
nay. So you
Mhm.
actually
We know that.
allocate up to 2 hours for each public hearing. Ramesh, did you have your hand up? You can shake your head or nod your head.
No, sir.
Okay. Don?
Well, this whole discussion, I think, is bringing up good points. I still go back to the fail-safe. Instead of limiting who can speak and who can't, give everybody the opportunity, you just turn down how long they can speak, because then you really do, you still get it, you still end up.
And that's what the school board does.
And I think that's a good one, because you do hear everybody. Everybody gets the chance to speak, it's just.
So if we.
You make it reasonable, because you know there's gonna be a lot of repeat.
If we did 20 instead of 15, that's an hour instead of 45 minutes, which is what the school board allows.
I think that's fine, that's sort of the fail-safe that.
And
The only reason I said match it up with them just makes it easier for citizens to.
Match it up.
I mean, just because it's, then they know if they talk to us or them, it's sort of the same, I don't know, that doesn't matter really.
And you got to
try to make it
remember,
easier
you
for
know,
citizens.
it's still a judgment call on whether you adhere to that
Yep. Agreed.
60 minutes. Jim?
Yeah, but we're just talking about citizens' appearance right now.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
So.
Not public hearing.
Not public.
So, I mean, maybe we have a meeting where they all show up
Mm-hmm.
on the same topic, but I don't know, I'm good for 3 minutes per, however long we gotta sit there and listen to them.
I'd like to have some
You make-
caliber on it.
You make a
I
good
mean,
point.
meaning just reduce the time.
You know, I don't know what they're there to talk about, and, I mean, that's what we're here for, so. You know, but that, if the general consensus is there's some fail-safe, I mean, that's fine too, but I'd say, why don't we just go with the 3 minutes per and just live with it for a year and revisit this time next year and kind of see what the experience has been.
I could go along with that.
Yeah, me too.
Mm-hmm.
For a 1 year, sunset.
Well, if we're gonna have to amend the ordinance,
Well, you
Get
know,
it sunset.
keep in mind, you guys can change this anytime you want to. And I just, I got, quite honestly, I got what I needed out of it. I just didn't want to do the extension of time.
I agree.
So
I
that was,
wasn't actually here.
that was
I
my,
agree.
that was my real reason. So
Giving everybody the same.
I'll give the text back to Bob. It'll come in and it's gonna say something, presentations by individuals during citizens' appearance shall be limited to 3 minutes each, period. Those persons signed up to speak at the citizens' appearance, yada, yada. So we'll take out the 20-minute limit, and there will be nothing in there about the number of speakers that are allowed.
And Jim, you make a good point, because this isn't public hearing, this is citizens' appearance.
Right.
All right,
Right.
Okay, cool.
all right, thank you very much. Appreciate
Look at us. See?
the discussion.
We were in a good headspace for this.
Yes, we were. Didn't, no one bit anybody's head off. Item B, Mr. Steer.
Excuse me.
Thank you for staying late, Mr. Steer.
Yeah.
My pleasure.
Great to
Mayor,
see you.
Cindy.
Council, good evening. This is item number B on your agenda. It's discussion regarding ordinance updates, Chapter 12, Section 31.3, off-street loading space, all districts. Section 31.6, parking requirements based on use. Section 12.31.7, rules for computing number of parking spaces. And Section 12.29.6, non-conforming signs. So the purpose of these amendments to the zoning ordinance are to incorporate items discussed during the Industrial 2.0 and retail roundtables that the city performed in fiscal year '23. This will allow for more flexibility in parking requirements for industrial and retail users, and the modification to the city requirements related to non-conforming monument signage could potentially improve the aesthetics of outdated signage along our major corridors. Because these proposed changes are city-initiated, we wanted to brief you on these concepts to get your feedback and consent on bringing these forward. These are all changes to the zoning ordinance, and per state law will require a public hearing at the Planning and Zoning Commission on October 17th and City Council on November 12th. And then newspaper notice will be published at least 15 days in advance of the council meeting. The first is to allow for the conversion of the dock areas to vehicular parking within an existing office warehouse site, provided the area is screened from view. Currently, a conversion of dock areas to car parking would necessitate a minor site plan amendment and would need the approval of the Director of Community Development. With this amendment, the change would be allowed by right and could be done at the time of building permit. The amendment would allow more flexibility for reconfiguration of the site to accommodate more vehicles for a change in tenant or operations of an existing site, or the operations of an existing tenant, and the space could easily be converted back if that user changes. This is not a drop-off pickup area for children, but rather an area that's used for shipping of goods within a warehouse distribution site.
Okay, so Matt, thank you for reading it. Now, point to that one and show us what you were just talking about.
Okay, so what we have is this is the existing warehouse that was just built on the southwest corner of South Beltline and Southwestern. And what they're proposing, if this changed, or this is a conceptual proposal, they would convert that dock area that's for shipping and loading and unloading of goods
within the back of their warehouse to car parks. So that's essentially, 30 parking spaces for a different tenant to go in that building, a more intense tenant. So we've seen this throughout the industrial park. Throughout the years, they do convert them. And so this allows for them to be able to do it without seeking a minor site plan amendment and without the Director of Community Development signing off on it, provided they screen the area with evergreen screening. That's the extra added screening here, probably Nellie R. Stevens.
So I'm going to try to put this in English I can understand. The fact that we require them to specifically say what that space is going to be used for, and now they want to change it to parking, requires us to change our ordinance.
Like what we have is a lot of, we have warehouse distribution in our
Yeah.
city. Some of it's being converted to data centers and some other things. They don't need the docks anymore, but they need the parking because of the intensity of the use. So they're converting the shipping area into employee parking to get their parking numbers up to accommodate an office use.
But our code currently doesn't allow them to do that unless they come back to us for approval.
We have to go through the formal site plan. It's 45 to 60-day process to go through that because of the notices. And we're trying to accommodate our.
Actually, it's a minor site plan amendment, which we do administratively. We're just easing up on that and doing it through the building permit process rather than doing it a minor site plan amendment.
Thank you. Don?
Why does it have to be screened? What's the, what does that accomplish?
Just more intense amount of cars in there. Typically, with a parking lot area, we require it to have landscape islands at the end of each parking row. So this would exempt them from our interior parking lot landscaping requirements.
So give us something somewhat similar to the regular parking
Right.
spaces, right?
And then plus these are easily converted back to dock areas.
Yeah.
If
Do docks have to be screened?
they do have to be screened with a wing wall, but not quite as intense as what we're requiring.
That's what these are, those wing walls for the docking.
I'm sorry if I.
I'm good. I'm good.
Okay, any other questions on this item?
No, thank you.
Okay. The second is a minor text amendment to the zoning ordinance to address the current requirement for warehouse distribution centers. The proposed changes decrease the minimum parking required from 1 parking space per 1,000 square feet to 1 parking space per 2,000 square feet, while ensuring the number of employees on the maximum working shift each have a parking space. Although the comparison city research showed a range of required parking from 1 to 1,000 to 1 to 2,000, from 1 per employee to 1 per 4 employees, staff feels comfortable in recommending the adjustment to this minimum standard. The text amendment would also include some verbiage, minor changes where we say warehouse/distribution instead of just warehouse, and that would be more consistent with the special definitions section. And what staff's observed is the larger the warehouse, the emptier the parking areas there.
Well, a lot of it's also caused by greater use of automation inside the warehouse, right? They just don't
Correct,
have as
yes.
many employees as they used
Yes.
to have.
And the bigger the
Absolutely.
warehouse, the more automation they're gonna have. Don?
And just to clarify, so it's 1 per, what'd you say, 1 per 1,000?
1 per 2,000 is what we're recommending.
1 per 2,000, but, or a minimum of their maximum staff.
Right, so it's 1 parking
Those
space.
words didn't make sense, but.
Absolutely.
Is that right?
Yes,
That-
sir.
That actually would supersede the 1 per
Yes.
2,000, right?
Yes.
They gotta have enough spaces for
Absolutely.
the big shift, okay.
So is this request, this particular one, is this coming from any of our current clients, or is it just something you guys have noticed?
This is the industry standard now. So we had the industrial 2.0 roundtable, and this is what came out of the roundtable.
Okay, thank you.
I'm good.
Sounds good.
Okay, so the next one The third text amendment was a result of a retail roundtable held with retail developers to discuss the future trends in retail. During the roundtable, the parking requirements for retail centers was brought up. Parking requirements of the zoning ordinance are based on extreme cases. During peak times, often there's a large amount of parking that's never utilized except for during the holidays. The Director of Community Development is proposed to be authorized, but not obligated to grant a 5% reduction in parking for retail centers that are greater than 10,000 square feet in building area. Anything greater than 5% would need a parking study and an alternate parking plan prepared by a landscape transportation engineer. Greater flexibility in administering the parking requirements allows for more potential businesses to fill the retail centers. The reason for the 10,000 square foot threshold, apologize.
Thank you.
The reason for the 10,000 square foot threshold is related to the number of tenants. Anything under 10,000 square feet would have fewer tenants and less parking wiggle room. Any questions on this one?
I do have a question. You'd be authorized but not obligated, so you're making a judgment call. And what is the basis of that that judgment call?
Well, so if I could answer that. So
Yeah.
5% would be a minor change, and most likely we would sign off on that. But if there's other factors involved, like just witnessing over parking of it or an under parking within an area, Mindy would have the right to say, no, I'm not comfortable with this 5%. I'm going to go ahead and send it through the process for your amendment.
Matt, you and I talked about this, Michelle, and one of the things is business models change. So with more like takeout for food, and they need that quick spot, but they don't need all this extra parking, or handicap parking has to be added, and now they're short the regular parking spaces, and we wanted to have the ability to help our businesses by making some minor tweaks. That's all really that Matt explained to me what he wanted to do with that. So it was kind of the business model changed, and as you well know, use all the, like in the strip mall situation, if you get like everything but one use, because of the parking requirements, you can't put a restaurant and say a little restaurant or a takeout place wants to go there, and we can't accommodate it because of parking, but they're only open in the morning and the afternoon, not in the evening. When, most of our citizens have left town to go work, it made sense to try to accommodate that business, and we couldn't. It's that kind of thing.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and so it's for the last tenant that's
It's really
basically
for the
going in
last
the
tenant
center.
in those shopping
Yeah.
centers. We've got the ability to make some adjustments, very minor adjustments.
My concern is the perception if you give it to one shopping center and not the other, if you're not obligated to give the reduction.
Right, and we could remove that from our proposal. I took it from Farmers Branch, so
Yeah.
that's how they had it worded, but.
I mean, from a legal standpoint, would we
Well, if you're
show you?
arbitrary about it, or not even-handed and that kind of thing.
That's my concern.
And not give it to the Hinkley's, but give it to someone else.
Yeah.
Kevin?
I was going to say, didn't we do something like this? I think it was with the firehouse. So didn't we do something with their parking, like, because the Braywood Center had like some limited parking? I mean, we kind of did this, but it came through council. So basically, it's just, I do have a concern about, like, I share Mark's concern with that, like, what's the trigger? Like, what causes that? Is that a mix of the, of the tenants of the shopping center? Is it just?
Yeah, sometimes it's just that last unit gets in, and so because the rest of the uses in that shopping center have parking requirements based on that use, they use up all the parking, and so they're short a space. Or
Right.
they have to add a handicap space, and that kind of thing, and then they lose a parking spot. we were just looking for a way of trying to accommodate that for the business community. But if you think it's fraught with danger, then we can go back to, I just hate to drag someone through the zoning process for a single.
Just give it to them.
Brianna?
Go ahead.
Then maybe it's the wording, maybe it's more of Director of Community Development has a discretion to approve parking, parking that is reduced by 5%.
Well, it shouldn't be arbitrary and capricious, there ought to be a standard. That's
Right, I just don't like that is authorized, not obligated to approve, because
So if you took out the not obligated,
the not like the wording is, and I'm not trying to wordsmith it, but there's something that doesn't seem be an issue with it. Well, but kind of to Mark's point, right? I think it's more of kind of like Mike has a discretion to do certain things and other things come to council. I think in this particular situation, Mindy has a discretion of doing it if it's one spot, right, and not having to go through the process.
Well, it's less than 5%, so it's usually 1 or 2 spots.
Yeah.
In most cases.
Yeah, so for centers that are 10,000 square feet, it would be 2.5 parking spaces.
Right.
That she would have the ability to sign off on.
Is really the intent just to kind of like, just get that across the finish line
Yes.
without as much red tape?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Do it.
Absolutely, yeah, and we can remove,
Oh,
not obligated, we can remove that from the.
Don?
Yeah.
I'm not-
We can weasel word and say, based on a legitimate business need.
Hey, Don, you should go.
Give some standard to it, so it's not to mark, if I give it to Matt, you don't give it to Louis, then, am I discriminating against Louis in favor of Matt? We don't want that either. But as long as it's a legitimate business reason that they need it, we'll give it to them.
Well, so, yeah, you bring a good point, if we give it to a restaurant rather than a vape shop,
That'd be a good
That's-
judgment.
Yeah.
That would be a
It
judgment,
would
that would be a judgment
looked
call.
on favorably by some people.
So I'm not the lawyer, but it really is just a minor, it's just cushion, slight flexibility, right? That's really what we're accomplishing here. I don't know that it's, I hear what y'all are saying about being capricious about who gets it and who doesn't, but it's really just sort of a margin, a de minimis margin, I think, so. I guess I feel okay with it,
It's
because it's
usually
just
caused by, it's not a self-imposed problem. When I want to buy or rent this space, I can't help who else is in the shopping center and taking on parking, and so Matt and I thought that we bring this to you as a way to relieve that without having to make someone go through a huge zoning process.
Yeah, so far, we have not denied anybody with the existing rule we have in place, correct?
We have had proposals say, I want to go in there, and then we've said, you don't have enough parking. You'll have to go through the PD process and ask for a variance.
Okay, so you have done that, okay.
Yeah.
I'm okay with this
Yeah,
change.
so that we make them go through the entire zoning process.
I'm okay with it, but I think I would reword the authorized, not obligated. It's just a little awkward.
It's very awkward.
Okay, sounds good. The next item is, during the retail roundtable, it was the consensus that the handful of current non-conforming freestanding signs are most likely not going to ever be removed and brought into conformance unless destroyed by a natural disaster. Because these signs were built prior to the current ordinance, they're typically larger in size and greater in height than what the current ordinance permits. So they're considered legal non-conforming. If they could be rebuilt to the same height and width that they are currently, then the owners of the centers would consider rebuilding these signs to be more architecturally compatible with the centers and would be more uniform with the existing signage along city roads. So staff's recommending the following verbiage be introduced to the non-conforming signage section. If the freestanding sign was built prior to 1990 and the sign's not considered a pole sign, then the sign can be rebuilt in the same location with the same height and width, provided it's architecturally compatible with the main structure on the site. Any questions on this one? Yes, sir.
What, isn't that just a realtor sign over there on the right? What is?
Oh, no, that's not.
No,
It's the
that's,
base of the sign.
I think that's Mark's
that's,
sign, isn't it?
that's the Woodside Village
It's a
shopping center.
multi-tenant sign.
Yeah.
Oh.
There's enemies on there.
Mark?
Ah, that one,
See,
okay.
these are the bands. of
Yeah,
the
gotcha,
different
gotcha.
businesses.
Okay.
So that's too tall to meet today's ordinance, plus it doesn't have the masonry base, and so.
Right, on the
you know,
left, you mean?
This one
Right.
doesn't have a masonry base either.
Oh, gotcha.
We couldn't build this back, it's too high, doesn't have the masonry base, and so it's got the and so we thought, Matt, not my thought, Matt's thought, was really, if we allow them to make it nicer, it's aesthetically more pleasing, they still get their multi-tenant, it's, okay, we've lived with it for this long, it's given those older shopping centers a break to freshen up their shopping center without doing violence to the zoning ordinance.
So, yeah, part of the retail roundtable, we met with Michael Hirschman, which was the Braywood Center, and he stated that, you know, the reason why his sign looks the way it does is because it's legal non-conforming. He's just gonna slide the tenant names in and out, and so, you know.
If I could build it back at the same height and configuration, I would upgrade the runners so it would look nicer, which ultimately is what we love here.
So I'm all for this, especially getting rid of the ugly. When you say architecturally compatible, I think you're getting towards materials. Can we still control that with the
As long as the owner wants to do it, sure. If he pushes back, no. But we'll write the regulation to request that it be compatible with the architectural features of the main building. You're getting close. I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm just.
I know you're an architect.
Well, so this is a structure, not the main building.
Yeah,
right?
so it's technically not the main building, so.
But I thought the way that was written, that it didn't necessarily just apply to buildings, it applies to structures.
It says commercial buildings, commercials. No, it says commercial buildings, because industrial buildings doesn't apply, at least arguably. But.
Okay,
we
as long as we're not getting in trouble.
Well, we're not gonna get in trouble. Sometimes people will do the right thing if they're just nudged sometimes instead of using a stick and beating them over the head.
I'm all for
That's what we do.
Ramesh?
Thank you, Mayor. Matt, I understand the pros and cons of what you're recommending. So if a sign was built before 1990, so it's legal and non-conforming right now. If we allow them to make this change, they could stay there for next 35 years in the legal non-conforming state. And is that what we want for the city?
That's what the current ordinance is. And so we're recommending that we don't want that for the city.
Matt, I think when I read this, my understanding was we are letting them be in that non-conforming stage. The only thing is that they will be asking them to make changes that are architecturally compatible, right?
Correct, yes, sir.
So the height and the width, which is non-conforming, we are letting them be non-conforming for the next 35 years, correct?
We're legalizing that, so it would no longer be non-conforming.
But Ramesh, they can maintain the current sign forever if it's non-conforming. What we want them is to make it look better and improve it and cut them a break so it looks better instead of them maintaining this eyesore. And so,
I understand that. I
Okay.
understood that part. But if I'm reading this correctly, one of the non-conforming aspect is the height and the width. And we are saying with this new change that if they replace it, they can continue to be non-conforming with height and width for the next 35 years or how much ever that sign lasts.
So, yeah, I understand what you're saying is that they would continue to be non-conforming, but what this ordinance, what we're proposing is that though they would no longer be considered non-conforming because they brought it up to the architecturally standards, and so is that?
He's not, what he is kind of missing is they can't tear it down and build it back. So if they tear it down, they
Right.
lose their non-conformity. And we want them to tear it down and put up something nicer, and we're gonna allow them the benefit to do that.
So what his question is this sign still gonna be considered non-conforming after they redo the architecture and make it look all nice? Is it still gonna be considered non-conforming, or is that gonna legalize it and make it conforming? So that's a legal question.
Well, if you write the ordinance that way, then yes, it'll be conforming at that point.
And Bob, one final follow-up. So if it becomes conforming, in the future, any new signs will be allowed to be of that height and width then?
No.
No. Because of the 1990.
It's the 1990 thing, but we'd have to write it that way. They're still legal non-conforming use, because they're still too tall, they're still too wide. We just let them, this kind of, right now, this is a one-time deal. They're getting a new lease on life, because they get to bet something that's more visually appealing, but they're protecting their non-conforming rights. Because otherwise, they'll never tear it down. It'll look as hideous 35 years from now as it looks today, and we want it to make it look better.
Yeah, I just want a clarification. Are we forcing business to spend more money?
No.
No, sir.
Okay.
No, this is
an option.
Help them.
It's an option for them. They can choose to do it, but they can stay the way it is today for next 35 years.
Yeah.
Grandfather.
But I think it sounds like some of them want to do it.
Okay.
But they're afraid that if they change the sign enough, then it'll become
A
an
new
illegal
sign.
non-conforming, it'll become a new sign, and then it'll be non-conforming and illegal. So they're not doing anything to it for fear that it would change enough of it that it would become illegal non-conforming, at which point then they'd lose their big sign.
The best example is the one on the left. They've got a nice, big, large sign that they don't want to give up the footprint.
The Remax?
Yeah, they don't want to give up the footprint on it, but we would like them to make it look better. Well, they can't make it look better unless they, under the current rules, unless they made it conform to our existing sign ordinance, which they don't want to do. They would be
They'd have to tear down,
Yeah.
once
And
they
put it
tear
small.
down, they lose their non-conformity.
And then
Now
it would
you gotta
be-
put it in
So what we're allowing them to do is to use that footprint and make it look a lot better.
Okay, so to advance your example here, they can remove that wood post on the left and right
Yep.
and do something else.
Yes.
Yeah, brick columns,
As long
something like
as it's
that.
this, in that footprint, Bijou, they can spruce it up so it matches, it's more compatible, they have nicer
Okay.
backlit signage, so it looks better, and they don't lose that non-conforming right.
I'm okay with that.
I guess that's after, 35 years of non-conformance, we're finally figuring out that they probably aren't gonna
When they
change.
built it, it was conforming. When we changed the ordinance in 1990,
That's what I
we
mean.
couldn't do those anymore.
That was 34 years ago, so.
I understand, I was here.
Don?
Yeah, I was.
So if they rebuild the sign, is it still grandfathered in if an act of God knocks it over or something? Or the next time they, I mean,
Yeah,
the
it's still,
date is no longer,
the height's still non-conforming, the width's still non-conforming.
but it's no
materials
longer a
still
sign built
not.
in 1990. It's now got a refresh date of 2024.
We'll
So
cross that
does
bridge
that
when we
mean,
get to
so does that mean if they rebuild it, then it has to once again conform with?
If it's more than 50% destroyed by an act of God, then they have to put up a sign that conforms to the current ordinance. They lose their non-conformity.
I was just curious if it resets the clock by having that 1990.
No.
I mean,
I'd
they're
have to
still not
rewrite-
grandfathered in though, right? It's
Well,
a
it's
sign
still
built in
non-
2024, not
It's
1990.
non-conforming with a wink and a nod. We're allowing them to do more than just maintain it. Legislative.
Yeah.
It's still height. If you were to come into town tomorrow and build a shopping center, you could not put that sign.
Right.
And if an act of God knocked that down, they wouldn't be able to
Okay,
replace
so
it.
that's a fair point, but does that mean once that sign gets, the new sign gets to be 35 years old, are they grandfathered in and can refresh it. Because that sign wasn't built in 1990, that's what, I guess my point.
I should be so lucky if I'm here to even worry about it, but it's still non-conforming. They would still have to, we would still have to, we might have to tweak the ordinance again to allow them to rebuild it again.
Okay, someone else down the road. Okay.
Right. Kevin?
All right, I apologize, but I'm gonna ask this question. The sign on the far right and the sign in the middle are a little bit more low profile than the sign on the far left. I get kind of grandfather, you know, like, yeah, I'm not naming any names, I'm just going sign in the middle and then sign on the right. So like, those are, even though they're non-conforming, they are a little bit more low profile, if you will. The one on the far left is far outside the scope of anything else that we have. Do we even have another example of a sign like that on the left?
This was really the largest one that I could find besides the pole signs, which we've already excluded from this exception.
The pole signs, yes.
We could limit the height of the change if you guys want us to go down this road.
Those supports, are those made out of wood on the left?
I think it's metal.
Is it metal?
It's either metal or some kind of fiber.
Okay.
Plastic.
But if you limit it, and they may just leave it like it is.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is like, that's what I'm struggling with, is like, that sign is just so big compared to the other ones. It's, I don't even have as much of a problem with the ones on the right. You know, the one in the middle and the one on the right, it's just that big one. So pretty much we have to do, like,
It's kind of a
we have to paint it with one big brush stroke, right, to be able to cover all this, or?
It's a trade-off to get nicer looking signs.
I know. I love businesses, so, okay.
The good news for this is half the sign's blocked by the tree. So.
Well, that is correct, so it's serving a great purpose there.
Well, they'll refurbish it, make it look nice and cut the tree down.
Okay, so my last slide here is, so again, the purpose of these amendments to the zoning ordinance are to incorporate the concepts discussed during the Industrial 2.0 roundtable and the retail roundtables that the city performed in FY 2023. These will allow for more flexibility in parking requirements and modification of the city requirements related to non-conforming monument signage. These will potentially improve the aesthetics along the outdated signage along our major corridors. Because these proposed changes are city initiated, we wanted to brief you on these concepts, get your feedback and consent on bringing these forward. These are all changes to the zoning ordinance, which per state law will require a public hearing at the Planning and Zoning Commission on October 17th and City Council on November 12th. And the newspaper notice will be published at least 15 days in advance of the City Council meeting. We will reach out to the stakeholders that were involved in the roundtables if given permission to bring these forward. And that concludes my presentation. I think I've answered questions throughout, so.
Beautifully.
If there's any additional questions.
I'm glad you're doing it. I think it's a good idea.
Would not have occurred to me to do it.
Huh?
It would not have occurred to me to.
No, it's a good proactive thing to do, I think.
Anybody have anything else? We need to go back out and close out the meeting. I do have a public announcement that I forgot to bring forth, so I will do that before we close out. The time is 10:31, and we are in the work session. We will move into the council chambers for the end of the regular session.
We've been here for 3 hours.
have recessed from work session, and we're reconvening into the regular session of the Coppell City Council. There was no action from executive session. However, I did fail to mention one public service announcement, and that was that Dr. Brad Hunt announced on Sunday the passing of a former CISD teacher, Diana Raines. She was also a member of the Coppell City Council from 1998 to 2005, serving as Mayor Pro Tem in 2005 as well. Funeral arrangements are pending at this time. We'll keep her family in our prayers. There being no further action before this council, we are adjourned at 10:33.